Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the relative detectability of sound underwater. Now when you hear all those words together, you're like, what are you talking about? What's your point? Well, the short version is a little while ago somebody had asked a question about just how loud is a submarine? Does it really matter with these little orange numbers chilling on the bottom? Like, is 100 too loud? Is 30 too loud? Like, what's the problem? Like, what does it mean? Like, if I do 40, is it more than 30? And stuff like that. So I said, this is a good time to go ahead and put together a video on that very topic. So what we have here is that we have ourselves a classic boomer. This is a Delta 4 and Delphin, literally Dolphin. And it's just chilling here, shallow. It's making about steerage, about 3 knots, and it's producing a total of 31.5 dB. That's decibels. That's a 1/10 of a bell. A bell is a pretty loud sound. And the one that kills me just a little bit here is this is overall intensity. Usually when you measure sound, you have like -10, -20, -30. Again, go look at your stereo if you want inspiration for that. But this is actually above 0 here. So this is above ambient if you want to think about it. Now, a decibel is a very, very curious unit because it is a logarithmic unit. So which means that when you go from 30 to 40, you're not actually increasing your volume by 10 units. You're increasing it by a power of 10. Let me go borrow something from the US Navy here. Whoop, there it is, delightful. As a matter of fact, if you look up some old school Navy sonar charts, they actually have a nice little diagram that shows you just how this effect actually kicks in. You'll notice, by the way, notice the negative decibels here. You'll see here that at a range of 10, if we have a source that is 0 decibels, that would be kind of whatever the reference value is that you're using, you could see at 10 yards, it now becomes -20. You can see here at 100 yards, it becomes -40. At 1,000, it goes to 60. 10,000, it goes down to -80. And 100,000, obviously, we've about -100 decibels. That's pretty darn quiet, if you ask me. Now, the reason this is so important here is we have two different problems that you're going to be dealing with. The first problem you're going to be dealing with is the fact that this little scale right here is affected by that power of 10. So if we add 10 to this, we're basically increasing its detectability by 2, even though we're not, because, of course, there's another problem you have to contend with, which is the fact that sound does not travel in a straight line. So the reason this is so problematic for us is that when I release my sounds, I'm not pointing it all in this direction. I'm not blasting it with all 100 decibels this way. What I'm really doing is taking my 31.5 decibels and blasting them in every direction, which actually causes it to attenuate quite dramatically. Now, if we were at shallow depths, like if we were chilling by the coastline or something, this sound would go everywhere and it'd be an absolute nightmare to try to capture. Now, the reason this is important to us, of course, is answering our question about relative detectability. So let's go ahead and go switch to the other team real quick and see what we're dealing with here. So what I have here is I have a Gepard. This is an SKR. It's a pretty small little frigate. I like it because it has a really boring standard sonar on the front of it. It doesn't have any VDS or anything fun like that. And the reason I chose it is because it's going to demonstrate this purpose perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up time here. We'll go up to red here. You can see there goes my P3. Or actually, it's a Tupolev 142. And we're just going to be listening to see if we can detect anything. And I keep in mind, I can see the Tupolev just ripping by, doing also. Oh, we've detected something. So if you come here, we've detected a new contact. Goblin number 1 is by this guy at an estimate of 17 nautical miles. You, of course, know that that's mathematically unlikely. And now if I unpause, of course, the people inside the sonar room, they're going to start doing their target motion analysis, their TMA. The best thing we can do, of course, if we wanted to be pro sonar people, is we can go ahead and execute a turn, basically, to try to get some bearing change on it in order to be able to read its range a little bit. So I'm going to order that bearing change, and I can see right away we're starting to get a better listen here. Go ahead and pause real fast. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go ahead and measure that distance. And that's a distance of 4 nautical miles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my notebook real quick, or my notepad, doesn't matter. So at -31 dB, I'm sorry, 31.5 dB. It's not minus, 31.5 dB. Detection was at 4 nm. That looks pretty good to me. So now watch this. Let's go ahead and recreate our scenario again. Blue looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go switch to the other team. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to order him up to a new speed. I'm going to get him rolling a little bit faster here. So let's go up to 5 knots, maybe even 6 knots. It's about 42 decibels. That's about 10 louder. So again, we've gone from 31.5 to 42 decibels here. Now, you're predicting here, remember, that 42 decibels is not going in a straight line. That doesn't mean we're going to pick him up at 8 nautical miles. It just simply means that, again, you're going to be marginally louder. So let's go ahead and switch to the other team again. Now, recreate our experiment. We're going to unpause, speed up time here. I just love the Tupolev 142. It's just ripping around. Oh, and if you take a look, we've again detected him at 17 nautical miles. That's okay, because it's not actually 17 nautical miles. If we quickly press my Control V here, we can actually make that measurement ourselves. And you can see our new detectability distance is 5.7 nautical miles. Let me go ahead and pull that down so you all can see in case you're taking notes. And you can see a 10 decibel increase in volume increased my detectability. Let's do the math here. 5.7 divided by 4 by 42%. That's incredible. A simple 10 decibels was the difference of detecting that makes no sense. Whoa, 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 whoa. Do my math correctly, my friend. 42 divided by 31.5 is 1.33. So that's actually a 33% increase. My apologies, everybody who's mathing. 33% increase. Wow. Now that seems problematic at first glance, but it actually gets better. So let's go ahead and recreate our experiment again. So now we have some numbers. We know every 10 decibels increases your detectability by about 33%. Keep in mind, it won't be that even in the real world. That's mathematically unlikely. So let's go ahead and grab it one more time. And let's go ahead and crank that volume up even more. So let's see here. If we wanted to predict here, if we go up to 52 decibels, we would expect 55.7 times 1.33. We expect to be detected at 7.5 nautical miles. Let's give it a try. Let's do 5 decibels, 7 decibels. We're going to get pretty loud here. 9 decibels. What is that? About 52? Okay, now that's quite a bit more volume. So let's go switch back to the other team here. And again, our predicted values you just saw a few moments ago is going to be about 7.5. Let's see what happens here. Watch this, watch this, watch this. We've detected him. Let's go take a look. Ready, 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 ready. 7.5 nautical miles on the nose. How's that for some math for you? So what we can see here is, let's go ahead and add that to our little notepad if you're keeping track. 52 dB detection at 7.5 nautical miles. Isn't that incredible how precise those calculations actually are? And you can see here that the difference between 20 decibels was 50%. So if I do, actually not quite 50, divided by 4, was about 87%. That gives you an incredible idea of just how much louder 52 is versus 30. Again, 20 simple decibels, and it was that much easier to be detected. Now let's go ahead and take this to some hyperbole here. Go ahead and recreate our scenario, reopen it up. Again, hopefully you're starting to realize just how loud a decibel really is. Swing over here, back to the other team real quick. Grab this guy real fast, and we're going to order him up to a stupid volume here. Blank. Now what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to back him up a little bit. He's cavitating right now, so he's going to be making an awful lot of noise. So let's go ahead and switch back there, unpause. This should not take long. There it is. So if we measure him now, again, we have to switch to God's eye view so you can get a feel for the distance here. You can see that was about 13 nautical miles away. Holy smokes, it's actually even bigger than that. So if I were to grab him and back him up a little bit, let's go ahead and intentionally drop this contact because I think we can actually pick him up from an even longer distance than that. Let's go get him going here. Oh, there it goes. Nice. Let's go ahead and close. Let's go ahead and get the measurement there. And the new range is 13 nautical miles. I'll pull that down so we can keep track of it. 102 dB detection at 13 nm. Now, the thing I think you'll find most fascinating is if you go back to that original chart, you will realize that this chart actually perfectly matches everything that we've already done, minus, of course, all the different kind of intricacies of the calculations and stuff like that. So now you're starting to go, wow. So if you're cruising around in the ocean, this is pretty hopeless. If you do anything faster than 3 knots, people are going to pick you up from basically anywhere. And the answer is these are basically standoff torpedo ranges, so they can pick you up no problem. So what's the trick here? And there is a trick, of course, and that is you got to go deep. So let's go ahead and reopen my scenario one more time here. Grab this one. We don't play as blue here. I mean, we already know what blue's all about, but we want to go grab red real fast. So grab my red. I'll grab him real quickly. I'm going to order him as deep as possible. I'm going to order him up to YOLO speed. Grab him. I have to actually manually set his speed here. Set unit properties. I'm glad they finally fixed that bug. Minus 99999. Now what you do is you pause on pause. There we go. So did I do negative or positive? I do that wrong every other time I do that. I put the wrong number in. Let's see here. I do this every time. Set unit properties. Minus 800. Enter. Let's see if I got it this time. Minus 800. Nice. He's going loud. Okay. So he's down to, he's going to get pretty deep. I believe the delta, I do not remember the crush depth of the delta. It's pretty deep. Let's see here. We get 1,050 feet. Oh, that's plenty. Let's switch to blue real fast. Go ahead and grab this guy. Keep in mind, this one is now pushing 90 decibels by our quick calculations. If you had the chart, if you need to make yourself a little cheat sheet on the right there, we probably would expect to pick him up around 9 nautical miles if this were conventional. But it is not conventional because he is so darn low. He's well below the acoustic layer here. As a matter of fact, if I hit F2, actually I got to switch to his side real quick. I'll show you the acoustic layer real fast. Yep. Yeah, see the layer is chilling down here. Anything down here, basically all sound goes boing. Well, actually his sound bounces off of it. My sound bounces off of it like that. So this is very, very unlikely to pick him up. We'll probably hear him right as he goes ripping by, but we'll take a look. We might not even hear him. Let's try it. Oh, got him. Just kidding. So I'm going to go press my measurement here, and you can see I've detected him at a range of 3.5 nautical miles. Now, the 3.5 nautical miles should sound pretty familiar because if you go back to our original chart here, you will remember that was about our distance. So traveling, let's make our little note here, traveling below the sound barrier, I guess it's not, it's an acoustic barrier, it's a little more complicated than that, results in 75% less detectability. Fantastic. So this tells you everything you need to know about your subs. First of all, a decibel is loud. You can see that very quickly. And again, I did not pick the world's quietest sub for this. I picked a boomer intentionally because I wanted something with a little bit of, boom to it. But the big thing that you can probably notice here is just how stupidly effective it is. If you need to get moving, you've got to go deep. Now, of course, one thing we're not taking a look at in our analysis here is if you're operating close to shore. We actually had an entire video basically dedicated to operating close to shore. And we demonstrated to you very quickly that the detectability goes from, 30 miles to like 15 feet because of all the reflections and stuff like that. Now, I know you're probably curious about passive and active sonar, but the big problem with active sonar is it's not terribly effective. And that would definitely be something for another video. Enjoy.